Good morning, everyone. The Earth says hello. Welcome to Nanyang Technological University's virtual open house for the School of Physical and Mathematical Sciences, also known as SPMS. Woo! My name is MJ. I'm the co-founder of a science channel called Just Keep Thinking, and I'll be the MC for today. We are here with the Chemistry and Biological Chemistry Division, also known as CBC. Woo! All right. Just a heads up, in August 2022, this division will merge with the School of Chemical and Biomedical Engineering to form a new School of Chemistry, Chemical Engineering and Biotechnology, also known as CCEB. Alright, I know some of you guys are not exactly morning people, but as the saying goes, the early bird catches the worm, and this not only applies to our speakers here from CBC, but also to all of you who are tuning in right now. So grab a coffee, slap yourself up if you have to, because this will be an informative and mildly entertaining session for the next hour. So for you guys out there, you must be something of a chemist yourself. I have a simple question to ask you guys, okay, to test on your knowledge. Are you made of copper and tellurium? Yep, it's a chemistry question. Because you guys are... You get it? You get it? Yeah, so since this is a chemistry question, I expect some sort of reaction out there. Okay, jokes aside, let's get down to business, starting off with the first speaker of the day, Professor Chiba, who will be giving a short speech to welcome all of you to CBC. Also, if you have any questions throughout the session, please do in your questions via the Slido app, or you may also send in your questions via CBC's Telegram channel at NTU_chemistry. Without further ado, let's get the ball rolling by inviting Prof. Chiba for the welcome address.
Okay, thank you, MJ, for introductions. Thank you. So very good morning, everyone, all the prospective students and parents. Thank you very much for joining for today's e-open house. And I hope so next 1 hour is become the good opportunity for you to know details on our NTU chemistry programs. And I hope that so we are going to see you as many of you as possible on campus in the next coming semesters. All right, so first of all, so I would like to inform you news about our school merger. So our NTU chemistry program is going to be merged with School of Chemical Engineering and Biomedical Engineering, so-called SCBE, to be one brand new school, so-called School of Chemistry and Chemical Engineering and Biotechnologies. So if you join us, okay, you are going to be the very, very new batch of new school, all right, under the chemistry programs. All right, but there is nothing at all for you to worry about it. So we remain the same. Our chemistry NTU program remain the same under one of the programs of the College of Sciences. Rather, so this merger will give you a more opportunity, especially more cross-disciplinary opportunity for you to learn about our counterpart programs from the chemical engineering and biotechnologies. All right, so by the way, so do you know how famous our NTU chemistry is in the world? Right? So actually, we are very, very well-renowned chemistry institution in the world, as shown in the ranking as shown here, right? So for example, so our NTU chemistry program is ranked number 3 in the world in the US program, US news ranking systems. And also our QS ranking also ranked as number 8 in the world. Well, so there are many, so ranking system in the, it's known in our societies, and many of the ranking systems like Shanghai ranking or Nature Index rankings also rank us very highly. All right, so as you know, so these rankings are majorly based on research strengths in chemistries. But you know, so research strengths, quality of the research highly depends on the people, like faculty, research staff in chemistry, and chemistry students, and infrastructures, and good system of admin structures, admin people, and also so library systems with rich database and resources. I would say the NTU chemistry has all of them. So our faculty are recruited from all over the world, from the top institutions, and we have one of the best infrastructure in chemistries and library databases. So all together makes our NTU program capable of delivering so the best educations and also best research training to you. All right. So nonetheless, so our graduate, your seniors, have been employed in wide spectrum of industries, including pharmaceutical industries, agrochemical industries, and also petroleum, so chemical industries, as well as the variety of government public institutions on research and administrations, right? And also even non-chemistry related companies also employed our graduates. So again, so I hope that so next 1 hour, okay, so you could enjoy next 1 hour for the NTU open house to know our NTU chemistry program in details, and details on our chemistry program and also our actual chemistry life on campus will be shared from my colleagues, Dr. Sumo, and also our senior undergraduate students later. So I hope you enjoy next 1 hour, and then we would like to see you on campus in the next coming semester. So thank you very much. I pass the mic to MJ. Thank you.
Thank you, Prof. Chiba, for the rather insightful glimpse of what CBC is all about. Next up, we have Dr. Sumot, who will be sharing more about the curriculum aspects of CBC's undergraduate program, basically what you will potentially mark for the next 4 years. So, Dr. Sumot, whenever you're ready, please go ahead and enlighten all of them.
Thank you, MJ. Good morning to all. My name is Sumot Pularkat, and I'm the Deputy Head for Academics at the Division of Chemistry and Biological Chemistry. So just to reiterate what Chiba-san has mentioned, our curriculum and our chemistry program and the name of the degree, everything is going to remain the same when we join or merge into the School of Chemistry, Chemical Engineering and Biotechnology. So as students, the first-rate program that we have always offered still remains exactly the same. There's no change. So what I'll do over the next few slides is to give you a brief overview of what the chemistry program that we have laid out for you involves, right? All the aspects. Of course, it's not possible for me to go through all the minute details about the program, which you can always read up on our website, right? But I'll try to give a brief overview of the curriculum. So the main degree program, or flagship degree program that we offer is the BSc Honors in Chemistry and Biological Chemistry. So it's a 4-year direct honors program, right? So that is our key main flagship program, right? So majority of our students in the Division of Chemistry and Biological Chemistry are under this BSc Honors program, the 4-year program. But apart from this flagship program, we also offer a few second degree programs, right? So these second degree programs are basically in niche areas which we believe are going to be critical for the future. So the admissions into the second degree programs are selective. The class size is deliberately kept small, and the curriculum is designed in such a way that on top of the fundamental and advanced learning and curriculum that you cover in the flagship program, you cover certain key aspects in the specialized fields. So one of the second degree program, right, the second major that we have is the second major in food science and technology. So as the name suggests, this is again for equipping our graduates for jobs of the future in food science. So as you all know, like when the world population is growing and with climate change and stuff like that, food science has become a very critical area. So this second major program is specifically designed to train students in this area. So we run this program with a few schools in NTU as well as an international partner, and that is the Wageningen University in the Netherlands. So the Wageningen University in Netherlands is one of the world's top universities in the field of food science. So this second major in food science and technology that we offer for our students is run in collaboration with Wageningen and is meant to equip you, as I said, for the upcoming jobs in the food science and technology sector. The other second major we have is the second major in business. for international trading. So again, you can see that the focus is on trust areas of the future. So you get a chemistry degree, and on top of that, you get a second major in international trading. And this program is run in collaboration with the Nanyang Business School, one of the top business schools in the world, along with certain other partners in NTU, right? So that is the second or the other second major program that we have, so in international trading. And the third one is the second major in environmental science. Once again, trust area, something that is going to see a lot of growth in the future. So we offer this second major in environmental science through a close collaboration with two schools in NTU, the Asian School of Environment in NTU, as well as the School of Civil and Environmental Engineering, right? So joint program, and how the other schools chip in is by offering tailor-made courses from their curriculum to students taking this second major in order to equip them in this area. And the final one, and the newest one, the newest kid on the block, is the second major in data analysis. Now, the second major in data analysis is run in collaboration with the College of Engineering, especially with the School of Computational Engineering under the College of Engineering, and also in collaboration with the Mathematical Science Division in the College of Science. Right. So this second major will equip students with knowledge in data analytics on top of whatever they learn, the fundamentals in chemistry. Okay. So one flagship program, the main program, BSc Honors in Chemistry and Biological Chemistry, 4 years, plus the 4 second major programs, right, that we offer. And as I mentioned, the second major programs, the admission is selective. We deliberately keep the cohort size small, and it is again a 4-year program. There's no extension, there's no additional years you need to spend for the second majors. It's the same duration. Okay, so now let's look at the curriculum overview of the flagship program, which is the BSc Honors in Chemistry and Biological Chemistry. So what you see here on the slide is basically an overview of these don't represent courses per se, but these are representing the topics and areas that you cover in the various years of study during your 4 years that you spend with us. So in year 1, you study the fundamentals, of course. Fundamentals of biochemistry, organic chemistry, inorganic and physical chemistry, along with a little bit of basic mathematics and physics, because chemistry can't survive in a silo. When you are doing a degree in chemistry, it's inevitable that a little bit of physics, a little bit of mathematics comes in handy for understanding and for expanding your viewpoint in topics. In the second year, so when you move on to the second year, you take courses in topics which are slightly mid-level, right? Not really advanced level, but a slightly mid-level. These are topics in analytical chemistry, intermediate topics in organic chemistry, inorganic and physical chemistry, and then you start typically taking elective courses. And I'll explain a bit on the electives a bit later in my talk. And in year 3, you take advanced courses, again, in the various areas of chemistry. So just to emphasize, what I show here in the slide are just the areas. Under each of these areas, there are many, many courses that are offered which you can choose to take, right? So there is some amount of flexibility on which areas you can focus on. Maybe you like organic chemistry or synthetic chemistry more, you can focus on that. Or if you like physical chemistry, computational chemistry, you can focus on that more during your 3rd year. And then you move on to your 4th year, where along with certain specialized courses that suit your interest, you also get the opportunity to either do an industrial attachment, right? So you work in a company, or you can choose to do what is a final year project, where you work with one of the research groups that are in the Division of Chemistry and Biological Chemistry. So you work in an actual research lab and you do real-time research, right? So I'll explain about industrial attachment and final year project later on. But just to emphasize another aspect of our curriculum is that between every academic year, you get a break of about 2.5 months. So this typically comes around the May to July period. So during this time, if you choose to do so, and if you are interested, we give you an opportunity to do what we call a summer research program, whereby you can come and do any of the research labs that we have in our division and work on an active, ongoing research project. So this you can do as an optional thing. It's not part of the curriculum. It's not a compulsory thing, but it's purely something that is available to you. So the good thing about this is that even before you reach your final year and you decide to do your final year project, you get exposure to real life research as early as the end of first year. So it's really a valuable opportunity. So at the end of the first year, you can choose to join a research group during the summertime. No obligations, voluntarily, right? And the first time that you do it, it doesn't even affect your CGPA or your grade point. It just adds on academic units to your curriculum. And you do that and you experience real research. And if you like, you can continue in the same research group or change to a different field for the second stint of summer research, which you do at the end of second year. And you get to continue that again at the end of third year, right? So the good thing is that by the time you are in your final year, you had the time to test the waters and find an area of research that is to your liking. And most people, students, what they do is that they choose to continue in one of the research groups where they do the summer research for their final year project. So that's a brief overview of the curriculum. Again, like I said, because of the time constraints, I am not going through each of the courses that we offer, which you can find on our website. Now, apart from the core courses, so the core courses are courses that you have to compulsorily take in order to fulfill the requirements of the degree in chemistry and biological chemistry. But on top of that, we also give you electives. There are two kinds of electives that you can choose. The first is called the deepening electives, which basically, as the name suggests, dwells deeper into specific areas in chemical science. And you can decide which area you want to focus on. So the deepening electives offered us in areas like what you can see: pharmaceutical chemistry, analytical chemistry, molecular modeling, nanoscience, bioimaging, organic reaction mechanism, artificial intelligence, theoretical and physical chemistry, and areas like that. What I've shown here is just a few of the deepening electives that are offered to you. Beside the deepening electives, and on top of the core, which I mentioned earlier, you can take broadening electives, which, as the name suggests, is not more about depth, but about broadening your perspectives in the area of science and chemical science. And these includes analytical and manufacturing techniques, polymer science, material chemistry, and so on and so forth, right? So core form the compulsory courses that you take, and these electives you can choose from a basket of courses that are offered. And we recently have implemented what is called the ICC curriculum, the interdisciplinary core curriculum that we have for NTU, across NTU. And the aim of this curriculum is that this comes in sort of like a layer on top of your core curriculum and is meant to equip you for a more holistic education. So you cover areas like navigating the digital world. You learn about how, for example, after graduation, if you want to start a company of your own, these courses equip you with things like how to on enterprise and innovation and entrepreneurship, sustainability, and stuff like that. Right? So these are the general courses that form one of the part of the curriculum. You can also take minors, right? So on top of your major, which is chemistry, you can take a minor. So it's a specific number of courses, not a lot. It usually entails about 4 to 5 additional courses. And if you take those courses, you are eligible for a minor degree on top of your major, right? And this minor you can choose to take in any topic that is offered by any school across NTU. It can be science, like some of our students take a minor in physics, some take a minor in life science, some in business, some in economics and stuff like that. So there's a wide variety to choose then, but it's optional. If you want, you can take a minor which fits your passion and your interest. And there are general electives which are offered across universities. So, for example, one of the popular courses is Japanese language. So if you want to, learn a basic Japanese language, or even things like art, right, or music, right, you can take those courses. So it's not like you are only taking courses in chemistry. These additional options allow you to broaden your horizon while you are in NTU. Okay. I just want to emphasize one of these elective courses, what we call now as broadening, under the broadening and deepening elective. This is a broadening elective, and it's a course in forensic science that we offer. Extremely popular course. Just as a quiz, I know that there is no feedback possible in this session, but how many students do you think is there typically in a class that we run in forensic science? Any guesses? Sorry, no prizes, but you can make your guess. And I think most cases when I do this in a real audience, the guess is always off by a lot, because the actual number of students that sit in this course, the NTU enrollment is around 1,500 students. So it's an extremely popular course. It's also run online on Coursera, where we have an international enrollment of 16,000 students all over the world, right? So this is another, this just gives a taste of the kind of broadening electives that you can take as part of your chemistry curriculum. Very popular course, and for obvious reasons. Okay, so let's move on to so what I mentioned till now is the flagship program, our basic degree program. And now this is the second major in food science and technology. So the first year is exactly the same as the normal program, but from second year you start taking additional courses which are in the area specific to the second major. So you take courses in food chemistry, food microbiology, and food physics, and quality control and quality systems in food science. And in the final year you do an industrial attachment, which can be with a local food industry company, where you get a priority to do it in companies like Nestle, for example. And you can also choose to do a final year project, right? So the structure is basically the same. The grayed out areas means that it's the same structure as the flagship program. And the highlighted topics are courses which you take to fulfill the second major, okay? You have the same opportunity for summer research and stuff like that. The next one is our second major in environmental science. Similar structure, but you start taking courses from the first year in areas related to environmental science, as you can in sustainability, climate change, so on and so forth. And then again, you have your normal structure, and on top of that, the additional courses to fulfill the second major in environmental science. Okay. The next one is the one in business. Again, throughout your 4 years, you take additional courses like in business management, accountancy, commercial trade. So this course, this second major is basically meant to open up job opportunities for you in chemical industry, where on top of your chemistry knowledge, you also have skills in international trade. So it makes you a very, very valuable candidate for jobs in that sector. Okay. Right. The last one, the newest one, is our second major in data analytics. Again, the basic structure is retained for the degree program in chemistry, and on top of that you take courses in computational thinking, algorithms, artificial intelligence, data science, and stuff like that. One of the requirements for you to go into this data analytics is that apart from the chemistry qualifications, you also need to have taken mathematics, because this is based on strong mathematics foundations. Okay. In the final year, you have the option of doing internship, but we also offer you, even if you are taking the FYP in research, you still can do an internship, a short internship, 10 weeks, called professional attachment, typically done in the first 2 years. And if you choose to do the pure internship route, in the final year, you do a 20 weeks of internship. And we have a lot of companies that take our students for internship, and you can see the list there. I won't go through the list because of the time limit. So our career and attachment office will actually do the placement and place you in one of these companies for your industrial internship. There is also a work-study degree program, which is a long-term internship which spans about 2 years, and you do multiple stints of internship. So you can read more about that, the work-study degree program, on our website if you're keen about that. The other option so in the final year, students take 2 routes. The second route that the students take is the final year project, which, as I mentioned, is where you do a long stint, 2 semester long, of final year research project in one of the research labs. So you get to do real-time research, experience actual cutting-edge research in various areas of chemistry that our professors and faculty members are engaged in. And like what I've seen as shown in the slide, some of or most of our students, by the end of this final year project, they even co-author a publication. So it really gives you an edge whether you're going for higher studies, especially if you're going for higher studies, for PhD, for example. You can really show that you have done and you have gained significant research experience. So that is the final year project option. And you have also exchange opportunities throughout the duration of your study. There are short-term exchange which you can do overseas. There is a semester-long exchange that you can do in overseas universities and transfer back the credit to fulfill the degree requirements of the chemistry degree program. And you also have a local exchange where you can spend some time in NUS, for example, or SUTD, right, and read some courses in those universities. Now, briefly about careers. This is data that is fresh out of the oven, and this is data that came out 3 days ago. And this is the data that came from the Graduate Employment Survey. So just 3 days ago, this data came out. It's conducted by all the universities in Singapore jointly. And this data that you see on the screen is basically the employment rate for the CBC, Chemistry, Biological Chemistry graduates. And you can see that the total employment is hitting around 98, and the full-time employment is hitting 74. And when you see that 74%, you must also keep in mind 2 things. First of all, this survey is typically done 2 to 3 months after graduation. So there are a significant number of students who have probably got an employment after that. And what this data also doesn't take into account is a large number of students who actually pursue higher studies. They go for master's degree, they go for PhD degree programs locally with us, also in top overseas universities. So we have our students going into like Oxford, MIT, Cambridge to do PhD studies. So those numbers are not reflected here, but as you can see, the numbers are very healthy. The sectors where they go in are like chemical companies, research institutes, and even in healthcare and pharmaceutical sectors, and so on and so forth. So if you are keen about the full data, you can always find it in the website for the Graduate Employment Survey in NTU. So with that, I come to the end. As I mentioned in the onset, what I understand is a very brief and possibly a quick overview of our curriculum. If you would like to know more, of course, you can use the Telegram chat and put up your questions and the Slido and put up the questions later on in this session. But you're also free to email us or to check out our website, where more comprehensive information on all the aspects that I've touched upon, which make our curriculum very unique and very strong in providing you a foundation in chemical science, right? With that, I thank you all, and I'll pass the mic back to MJ. Yeah.
All right. Thank you, Dr. Sumot, for the very informative session. As you guys can see, the curriculum here does prepare you a lot for your future working careers. So if you guys are interested, do consider joining the CBC division here. Just a reminder to send any of your questions via the Slido app, or you may also ask them via CBC's Telegram chat at NTU_chemistry. Next up, we have Miss Sonia Mark, who's currently a student in NTU, and she will be sharing about her academic experience as a CBC student here. So Sonia, whenever you're ready, the stage is all yours.
Hi everyone, so I'm currently a year 3 chemistry student. Yeah, as introduced by MJ earlier, my name is Sonia. So before I begin sharing about my student life here in NTU, let me just give myself a brief introduction. Yeah. So as mentioned earlier, I'm currently a year 3 CBC student. Some background information is that before university, I actually studied in a polytechnic. So if you have more questions regarding like what's the transition like, do send in your questions in the Slido app or via our Telegram group chat. And just a small fun fact is that my humor is lame and cringe, which you might see more as I share later on in my slides. Yeah. So why did I choose chemistry in NTU? So of course, aside from the fact that I'm interested in chemistry, I think, yes, NTU is located in Jurong and that's where I stay. So I prioritize convenience, and yeah, so I mean, this is one of my criteria and the priorities in selecting NTU. Yeah, so aside from the fact, if you actually do come for our open house or even like any of our tours, or if you've come to NTU before, you might have seen the facilities in NTU. And I think that the facilities that NTU offers are there's really a variety of facilities that NTU have. Like there's a lot of instruments, there's a lot of like high technology, and they're just really advanced instruments, which I think is essential for a chemist to learn. Yeah, and I mean, like if you do come to the open house, you will see that in the tours, they do actually say that each student will get their own personal fume hood in the organic lab. So I think that's a really cool part, because I mean, like, you know, before universities, you might have done some lab work here and there, and actually those are mostly group works. But when you come into university and take your degree, these are all individual experiments. They are mostly individual experiments, and so that's really where you get to have to take ownership of your own work. Yeah, so that's really a lot of independence in that area. Yeah, and lastly, I do think that the teaching methodology in NTU is more of my cup of tea, because as with what I've seen before I came into uni, and I asked questions, and the questions I asked, what I actually caught was that the heart behind NTU's teaching style was really practical. Yeah, so, and having come from poly, right, I would say that I value practicality. Yeah, and because I believe that it is the practical skills that we learn aside from the theory, although they are important. I think that's really useful in the workplace, because regardless of whether you're doing research in academia or whether you're going out in the industry, I think these practical skills that you will learn in NTU, I think they are really transferable. Yeah, and so yeah, I believe that NTU was able to equip me with the skills that I need to work as a chemist in the future, and that's why I chose NTU. So here are just some pictures of the fun times I had in NTU. So maybe you see the first one, it's like humorous professors, like, because like this is one of the emails that I received from one of my professors. Yeah, and like he's like, oh, listen and feel the molecules, which is, I think it's lame, yeah, but I find it funny, so that's why I say I'm lame. Yeah, and aside from the fact that there's mala, and the bottom left, there's like one time that I got locked out of lab, which is kind of sad, but again, I mean, it's just dark humor. I love it, so why not? It's funny, right? Yeah, just you create your own fun times amidst your busy student life, and amongst all the theory and stuff. Yeah, and on the last picture, it's just me being a clown during my orientation camp fashion show. So yeah. Okay, so for the learning experience, I think it was, generally, if I have to summarize, I would say that I mean, like, we all know that chemistry is actually a very theory-heavy module. It's a very theory-heavy subject, yeah. But aside from that, I would say that the teaching staff in NTU here were really helpful, and they have really helped to enrich and enhance my learning here in NTU, yeah. So, like, if you see on the bottom left, okay, it might seem kind of bad, but this was a photo of one of my professors. He was sweaty because he actually ran from one end of the school to the other end, and then back and forth, just so that he could like return us our test papers. So like, I guess you can say our professors are willing to go the extra mile, quite literally, for you. Yeah, so okay, that's really lame, but yeah. And aside from that, like you know, like, if you're gonna sit in for a 3-hour lecture or 2-hour lecture, it might be really boring. So like, there are certain times when our professors will actually bring in some toolkits into class for us to gain some hands-on experience, and to further solidify the concepts of to how all these theory come into play. Yeah, and lastly, it's just that in our labs, we do have very passionate teaching assistants, and I think if you're you're not really familiar with experiments, or if you have any uncertainties, I think I personally received a lot of help from them, and I think they are just very passionate in teaching us too. Yeah, so that's that. And yeah, so this is just a video in one of my physics module for my year 1 physics. So as Dr. Sumot said earlier, that you might take some physics or math because they are required in chemistry. So yeah, this is just a snippet. Okay, so that's yeah, it's just some fun times, right, in school. So okay, so here are some of my notes that I written, and I mean like from my professors, and handwritten notes on the right. So these are like organic and inorganic chemistry, like some of our core modules, and here's an example of our lab manual, and on the right are some preparation we have to do before lab. Yeah. And again, these are for some modules you might have to write help sheets to bring into exam to help you, grab that A. Yeah. And lastly, I think it's really normal to make mistakes, and this is just a very lame example where I actually put the wrong sign in front of my answer, and that's where I lost a mark. And this was a test, but I guess it's all right because it's all part of the learning experience. And at the end of the day, I would say that my biggest fulfillment as a student is that we come in not knowing anything, like a blank piece of paper, right? But especially if you are interested in chemistry, and as mentioned earlier, that these are the 4 main branches of chemistry, and which will be heavily taught amongst the 4 years. Yeah, and I think as we proceed on to higher level of learning, I think that's when I do get to see how all these different concepts link together, although actually they are all under the same branch of chemistry. And I think that is really a mind-blowing moment, because then you're not just treating these as individual subjects, but you do actually see the link between everything. Yeah. So yeah, that's my sharing. Thank you so much. Back to you, MJ.
Thank you, Sonia, for sharing your academic experience and life experience here as a student. As you guys can see, not only the students here work hard, we play hard as well. So next up, our next CBC speaker of the day is Mr. Trishan, sharing more about his life in NTU. So I'm excited to hear this because I think that this will remind me a lot of my younger days. So Trishan, whenever you're ready, you may go ahead.
Okay, good morning everyone. So I'm Trishan, and so a little bit about myself is that I'm currently a year 2 CBC student, and I came from a junior college background. Yep. So firstly, let's start by me telling everyone like why did I choose NTU. So the first reason is I have a strong passion in chemistry, and after looking through the course and the modules that NTU provides, right, I actually feel that most of the mods are very fun and practical. So for example, like what Dr. Sumon had mentioned, we actually have forensic science mod, and it's actually a very oversubscribed mod in NTU, but because we are chemistry students, so we have priority to getting that mod. Yeah, so for that forensic science mod, we actually get to understand how we can apply chemistry just in our world, and also how it can use to solve real crimes. And apart from forensic science, we also have food science and also medicinal chemistry. So for myself, I also took the medicinal chemistry module, which I think is really insightful, whereby again we can make use of our knowledge and to apply it in the real world, where how we can solve real world problems with the theory that we learned. Yeah. And also apart from that, we also have many opportunities that we offer. So example, we have a lot of undergraduate research opportunities, whereby you can do it in your summer, you can do it during your school term. Yeah, and we also have a lot of overseas exchange, whereby most of our students are actually able to experience overseas exchange because of the capacity that we are able to provide. Yeah. And also for NTU, we actually have each school have their own career office, so it's actually more tailored towards individual school. So for CBC, we have our own career office as well, so whereby we'll have career coaches out there to actually help us in maybe preparing us for an interview or preparing us for the industry. So I think that really kind of add value to us, because as an undergraduate with no working experience, we don't really know like what to prepare for the working world. So with a mentor behind us, we can actually be more prepared to face the working world. Yeah. And also for the facilities in NTU, when I came for the open house, and I saw that most of the lab equipments are actually new and also very relevant to the industry. So the equipments that we use are actually very similar to what we use in the industry. Yeah, and also I think for CBC, our school has plenty of study areas, so it's actually very conducive for us when we actually study for our exams. Yeah. So now I'll just briefly explain about the student life that we have. So for timetable, we actually get to plan our very own timetable. So it's actually very flexible. So we have like many indexes to choose from with different time slots. Yeah, so we actually get to plan our own timetable, and if you're lucky and you're good at planning, you don't actually have to go to school every day. Yeah. Then for food options, right, we have a lot of food options actually just right next to our school. So we have like one canteen right beside SPMS, and then we have many food options. We have Subway, we have noodles, we have from pasta. I think we have quite a lot of food options. Yeah, we even have bubble tea stalls like Trishan and Liho, which is quite near to our school. And then for research opportunities, we have undergraduate summer research, whereby it's a research program that you will do during your summer period. And the first time you do it is actually a pass-fail course. So you get it's not graded. So when you do it, it's either you get a pass or a fail, and it's more of like an introduction to research life in NTU. So for myself, I actually managed to enroll in that, and I think it was an eye-opening experience because you get to experience firsthand what is it like to be working in a research lab, and also it's more independent. You get to plan like what you want to research on, and for the research you will actually be attached to a mentor, whereby we'll be each assigned a PhD student or a post PhD student as well. Yeah, so we will actually work on the research subject with them, and then they will just guide us along. Yeah. And next we also have Odyssey Research and Eureka Research, whereby these research programs are more of throughout your school term. Yeah. So for academic help in CBC, we have a collation of the past year papers on NTU Library. So for example, like past year final exam papers, you can find it on the NTU Library. So you don't have to worry about whether or not you don't have enough practice, because for myself, I find that we do have sufficient practice, and the answers will be provided by students from SPMS club, or whereby some prof, they will actually provide the answers to the final year exam papers as well. So that's still depending on the prof itself. Yeah. So then we also have our very own SPMS Learning Center, whereby we will have our seniors there to guide us on topics. So let's say you are unfamiliar with maybe a concept or a module, we actually have a learning center whereby our seniors will be there to answer to our questions. Yep. And then for welfare, right, we do have our very own SPMS club, which actually is in charge of the student welfare in SPMS. Yeah, so actually the students actually will listen to our feedback and then improve it to cater towards what students actually want. Yeah. So apart from that, we also have CCAs. So one of the activities we have is actually an inter-faculty sports competition. Yep. Yeah, so for academic life, right, I think I will just cover on the modules that we have. So we have core mods and lab modules. So the core mods are usually 3 hours lecture, and we will have 1 hour tutorial every week. Yeah. And then for the lab modules, for year 1, right, we have 3 hours lab, and it's actually, we have TAs to help us, but the TAs are undergraduate students. And then for year 2 and year 3, we have a 6 hours lab module, whereby we have synthetic lab and also analytical lab. But don't worry about the lab, because we actually have friendly TAs, which are PhD students, out there to guide us. Yeah. So a little bit about hall life, right? So for NTU, we actually have a guaranteed hall stay for year 1 and year 2. Yeah. So what I think I gained from hall life is that I made many more friends and also experience the campus life, and also I get to learn to be more independent. Yeah. And also for hall, we have hall games and hall CCA. So if you are looking more of like not just about studying, but also more holistic life, you can actually join hall, and then because of the opportunities that the hall can offer. Yep. So with that, this is the end. So I'll pass back to MJ. Thank you.
Thank you, Trishan, for sharing about your life here in the chemistry division. I think that for our undergraduate days were some of the best days of our lives, and I hope it will be the same for you guys out there as well. And very smart, you use food to lure the new students in. That's a very good move. Alright, now we shall move on to our Q&A segment where we answer a lot of your burning questions. And let's see how many questions we have. Ding, 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 ding. Ding, 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 ding. We have a lot of questions. Hold on. Hold on. Hold up. Whoa, 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 so many. Alright, let's get the ball rolling. First question, for the new school CCEB, would we need to do any engineering modules in the near future? Would we get access to use facilities in the chemical engineering site? Perhaps one of the profs, you would like to?
Okay, so let me answer to the questions. So the answer is entirely up to you, but if you are under chemistry program, so first of all, so you will start to study all the science-related chemistry, modules. Okay, but if you are eager to run kind of cross-disciplinary modules related to chemical engineering or biotechnology, so there is a very smooth accessibility to that module and the programs. So it's entirely up to you. Under chemistry program students, so you can take such modules, but if you are not interested in, so you don't need to take. Okay, so I hope I answered to the questions. Yeah, but if
like Professor Chiba said, as you're broadening and deepening electives, especially the broadening electives, you have the choice of taking courses in chemical engineering, right? But as part of the core curriculum, it's just the chemistry courses that has always been there that you will need to take, right?
Yeah.
But if you want, you can take courses in chemical engineering. That option is always there. And for example, if you want to do your final year project, if it's a collaborative project between someone in chemical engineering and chemistry, you can do a final year project if you can find a professor who is willing to take you into the lab. You can do your final year project in chemical engineering. There's no issues at all. Yeah, there's a lot of flexibility in that respect. Yeah.
Okay, so another point about the accessibility to the facility of chemical engineering. So at this moment, so our chemistry building and also building of chemical engineering and biotechnology are separated. But of course, so if you're eager to access to the chemical engineering facility, so of course you can do that. Yeah.
All right. Hope that answers your question. Next question, also by Anonymous. I am interested to do research work as an undergraduate. Could you share with us what are the areas of research the professors are working on?
So
I guess.
Let me answer to the question. Yes, so you are welcome, mostly welcome to join us to conduct research, chemistry research together with our faculty. So as I told you a little bit in the introductory part, so we are doing high quality research in our chemistry program. And then so each faculty has her own expertise. I myself are organic chemist, more specifically to say, doing synthetic organic chemistry and catalysis for making small molecule of interest. Dr. Sumo is a synthetic organic chemist, but particularly for organometallic handling of the organometallic compounds, and also inorganic materials. And we have biological chemists, we have physical organic chemists and physical chemists, and also environmental scientists. So all together, so we are running chemistry programs. So depending on your interest, specific interest, you can choose the proper research project that could be offered from the faculty member in chemistry program. So you can join us at the beginning, soon after you join our chemistry department. So by leveraging variety of research programs that can be offered to you. Yeah.
All right. Yeah, you can check out the website. So there's actually a list of all the professors with their papers, and their credentials. Yeah. All right. Next question. What is the difference between the chemistry and biological chemistry, biological sciences, and also chemical engineering programs? Okay, this is a big question, but perhaps.
Okay, yeah. This is a usual question that comes up every year. So one way to define this, of course, in these days, the barriers between disciplines are very vague, and furthermore, like I mentioned, even if you are a chemistry student, you can take courses in biological sciences and chemical engineering. But to just come back to your question on the differences, one way, there may be many ways to interpret it, but one of the ways to say is that when you're doing the course in chemistry and biological chemistry, you are basically building up your skills in building molecules, understanding their structure, understanding their properties, understanding how they can be applied to various areas, including biological sciences, chemical engineering even, and even to physics, semiconductor physics, a wide range of areas. So your core knowledge and skill that you gain in the chemistry and biological chemistry program is as a maker of molecules, to make molecules, to be able to sort of purify them, identify them, characterize them, understand their properties, right? So that's synthetic and analytical and understanding the physical properties of the molecule. That is where your core knowledge and skill comes in. If you look at chemical engineering programs and chemical engineers in general, they are more concerned with how the actual synthesized molecules, which is usually synthesized by chemists, are put to use in a large-scale production setting, right? Like in a factory, right? So chemical engineering focuses more on how the molecules that are already made by chemists are put into use in various industries and factory settings for large-scale production and stuff like that. Biological sciences, of course, is a sister of chemistry. And the difference between biological chemistry and biological sciences is that we look at the chemistry of the molecules that are involved in biological systems, whereas in biological sciences, they are more involved in the actual effect these molecules have on life systems, right? So these three areas, like I said, are very related, are interconnected, and it's not like if you choose any one of these programs in NTU, you don't get exposure to the other, you do get. So that's the beauty of the curriculum, right? I hope that has somewhat clarified your question. Yeah.
Hi, can I add on?
Yeah.
Yeah, so as from a student perspective, right, I would say in short, in summary, if you like chemistry, come to CBC, chemistry and biological chemistry. That will be the bulk of your study. If you like math or physics, but you want to do it in a chemical setting, then go to chemical engineering. And if you like biology, then biological sciences is your answer. Yeah, that's it. Thank you.
Wow. Those are beautiful answers. We should keep that in mind just in case the question keeps coming for the future open houses. All right, next question. Do I have to choose the second major when I apply to NTU, or can I opt to change to the second after I'm admitted?
Okay, so to answer this question, if you are talking about the food science and technology second major, you have two options. One is that you can apply for the second major at admission, right? So you can indicate among your choice of courses in NTU, you can indicate as your first choice, for example, the second major in food science and technology. You can put the second choice, the basic chemistry program, and so on and so forth. But for the food science second major, there is a second route for entry, which is after your first year. So if after your first year with us in NTU, if your scores and your academic performance is very good, you get a second shot. In case you did not get through at the first attempt, you get a second shot at going into the food science program. But that is specifically for the food science second major. All the remaining second majors, the one in environmental science, the one in international trade, and the newest one in data and analytics, those are only offered at admission. The reason why this difference is that the curriculum for the second major for the food science program kicks in only from second year onwards. So we give the flexibility of joining after first year. But for the other second majors, the curriculum, which is part of the second major, kicks in right from first year. So you have to join it at the time of admissions. Yeah. I hope that has clarified your question. Yeah.
Right. Thank you, Dr. Sumot. Next question. Can Poly/JC/IB students be exempted from some year 1 modules, and what are the criteria for exemption? Okay, I guess this, I shall pass it to...
Yeah. Okay, so what we have done recently, which is slightly different from the curriculum that these guys here have gone through, is that we have started a bridging course. So this bridging course will run before you start your studies in NTU, and it will basically cover all the simpler basic topics that probably some of you have covered in Poly, some of you have covered in JC or in your IB program, right? So that bridging course will kick in before you join NTU. And our first year courses from this admission year onwards are really condensed and are of a level that you have to go through. That means that we do not provide year 1. So there are only 2 chemistry courses now. One running in the first semester, the other running in the second semester. These 2 courses you have to go through because they are calibrated at a level which is suitable to equip you with all the knowledge that you need for higher level courses. So there's no exemption for that. The only exemptions we have is for certain special cases like if you are an Olympiad, International Chemistry Olympiad medalist or something like that, yes, we give exemption. For the others, for your own good, it's good that you go through the first year courses. Yeah, but there are only 2 of them now. Yeah.
All right. So yeah, just study, right? All right, next questions. Is there a program that allows us to have more experience in the industries, which I assume you're referring to like the corporate companies out there?
Yeah, so to answer this question, so one of the best opportunity for you to have industry experience is the industry attachments. So many of our students go to the industry and company to have the practical experience, but through this module. And also many of our students are also taking, internship, in the kind of internship. This is also industry attachment, yeah, to get the module, right? And also on the campus, so you can also have some sense of industry experience. Many of our faculty members have an industry research collaboration with the pharmaceutical industry or chemical industry, including myself and Dr. Sumo. And for another example is that, so industry has a research laboratory at our chemistry department. For example, Nippon Shokubai is one of the largest chemical industry in South Asian regions, has the research laboratory at our chemistry department. So that is also kind of collaboration opportunity, and the opportunity for you to get the practical industry research experience. So again, so we can offer you variety of opportunities, various opportunity for you to get the industry experience through our chemistry program. Yeah, I hope that answered my question.
Thank you, Prof. Shiba. We're going to have our last 2 questions. Okay, from a Poly or JC student's perspective, how is the study workload? Able to balance between student CCAs and studies? So I think both of them will help to answer this question.
Hi, so I'll cover for the JC student part. So for JC student, because for year 1, right, mainly on theory, and we also do have lab modules, but I think a lot of the JC student concern is that because for JC we don't have a lot of lab experience, so there might be a huge gap. But actually don't worry, because for year 1 lab, it's really more of understanding the equipments that we'll be using for year 2 and year 3 onwards. And then also for the lab modules, as I mentioned, that we actually have friendly TAs there to help us. So if we are uncertain about a certain way to do an experiment, we can actually just approach the TA, and then the TA will be there to guide us. Yeah, and for lab modules, right, actually it will be kind of like covered, like we will just be based on the theory that we learned on the previous semester. Then after that we will do our lab on the next semester. So it's all actually quite linked. And then for the theory wise, right, I would say it's still manageable for year 1, because most of the stuff will be, at least for my experience, is that we actually covered like half of the stuff in JC before, so there isn't much of a big jump. It's more of like a refresher and also additional stuff that will help us for year 2, year 3, year 4. Yeah, maybe Sonia want to share.
Hi, so I'll be sharing from a poly student's perspective. In terms of study workload, actually, personally, I think it depends on individual. If you had a chemistry background previously, then I would say that actually most of the year 1 topics are pretty much the same. Maybe there might be some new info here and there, but study workload wise, they are all mostly manageable, because once you have refreshed your memory from year 1 modules, or even if you haven't had chemistry experience, you will learn them in your year 1 mods. Yeah, so and then you will have built your foundation, and then as you move onto the later years, they are actually all, think of it as Lego blocks, so like they're built on one on top of the other. Yeah, so that's for the theory. And I think Trishan mentioned earlier for the lab, if you're from poly, then I think you might be familiar with most of the instruments, especially if you came from chemistry, right? Yeah, so in fact you should be quite fluent. I think it's pretty easy. And in terms of CCAs and studies, I personally do not have a CCA, but I would encourage you, if you value social life, you want to it's a time of your life, like it's your last education, go for it. By all means, go for it. I have friends who have CCAs, and I think they are very manageable. I guess it depends on where your priority is. Yeah, so studies and CCAs, it's all up to your own priority. Yeah.
Also to add on, right? So I think a lot of the students are actually worried about the workload, in terms of academic workload. So I think there isn't any difference between poly or JC student, because for year 1 it's really teaching us the basic, and I think the professors are really helpful in teaching everyone. So we will really learn the very basic, which we will use for year 2 and year 3. So after year 1, right, there's really not much difference, and I think everyone are almost like the same. Yeah, all the students level are on the same level for year 2, year 3.
Oh yeah, last but not least, speaking about labs, for year 1 labs, right, remember how I mentioned earlier in my sharing that each student get their own personal fume hood? For year 1, at least for synthetic labs, you will be paired up, so at least you don't have to stress if you are like, oh no, how am I going to handle this experiment alone? Again, there are still TAs and many helpful staff around, so yeah, do not worry.
Thank you so much. Those were great answers. Unfortunately, just like some of your relationships out there, all good things must come to an end. But although your relationships no longer have chemistry, you can join the chemistry here. Yeah, so that's all we have for our SPMS CBC's virtual open house. If you guys have any more queries, or if your questions have not been answered, please do your questions to CBC's Telegram chat at NTU_chemistry. Also, do check out our SPMS tours available for limited sign-ups on the NTU Open House website. So these are guided in-person tours that will bring you around our common areas, teaching facilities and laboratories, accompanied by friendly SPMS student ambassadors, and you'll get to have a taste of what your future university life may be like. Some of the slots are already fully booked, so yes, fastest finger wins. All right, thank you so much for joining us this morning. I hope you guys enjoyed this session as much as I did. And bye-bye. Have lunch. Goodbye.